Welcome to Breaking Biscuits, the experience. Mark, today we're going to talk about the rescue me versus the remember me mentality and mindset. This is going to be a really interesting podcast, so
Yeah.
stay tuned. Mark, welcome back. You and I, today's podcast has been inspired by multiple discussions you and I have had over the last several weeks, and just the other day we were talking, and you kind of brought up the Jesus on the cross and the two thieves, and kind of the mindset about that. So we kind of meditated on it and talked about it, and today we kind of want to dive in to the mindsets of the two thieves on the cross. I think to start out, just for our audience, just kind of share the story. I'm sure anybody that's been to Sunday school has heard the story, especially on Easter, but just kind of give us a recount of the story of Jesus on the cross and the two thieves, and we'll kind of dive in there.
Well, I think what we talked about the other day was we were just talking, and it came back to my memory that Jesus was crucified in between two thieves, right? The more I meditated on this, and there's 2 points that I want people to grasp today, is there's a rescue me part of you, and there's a remember me part of you. And so it's like this picture is a picture of what's happening inside of every human. Jesus is in the middle, and Jesus chose to be in the middle of your duality, your indecisive, your two-souledness, your that Deepak Chopra says all suffering comes from the ego. So without the ego, there's no suffering. Meaning, Paul wrote about carnal mind, flesh. He wrote about those things. So it's really a cool picture about inside of all of us is this fleshly man that Jesus said we need to deny, and the spiritual man. It's the rescue me and remember me. And It's just where we want to start today, is because you have a choice, I guess. When Jesus is in the middle, you always have a choice. But the other point I want to make today, as we get started, is the thief on one side said, "Save me, rescue me, and yourself while you're at it. Go ahead and buy you something good too, or whatever." While you're at it. But the other guy said, "Remember me," and the speech is very full of humility.
Yeah, the rescue me mindset. The thief that, in case just those of you that maybe don't know the story, Jesus is like in his final moments, and he's got these two thieves on the cross on each side. One of them, I find it interesting. It's an if statement. Like, if you're the Son of God, if you say who you are, then get me out of this jam. Like, get me off the cross. Save yourself and save us too. And it's like, for me, that's kind of like the default mindset that comes out in a crisis. Like, okay, God, I've served you all these years. I've gone to church. I've done this. I've done that. If you really are who you say you are, then help me out of this jam. Like, to me, that's the mindset of that, of the rescue me. And we'll jump into that here in a minute. And then the contrast, like you said, the other thief being the one that was with humility, and he said, remember me. And then I find it interesting, Jesus only spoke to one of them. He only responded to one of them. And it wasn't the rescue me, it was the remember me thief that he responded to. So responded out of that humility
Mhm.
And there's just so much here I want to unpack when we start talking about this. But can we just like focus on the rescue me mindset first? Because we've all been here. Like we've all said, like to me, Mark, the reason we want rescued is we have pain. We're suffering, right? And we don't want to have pain in this life, and we don't want to suffer in this life. So like talk to that. Talk to like how you and how we just want to avoid this suffering aspect in our life.
You're so right, though. Jesus did not respond to the save me, fix my situation. And I think a lot of men and women, people, humanity, God's given you the power to fix your situation. What He's come to fix you.
That's good.
The remember me guy says, I need help. The other guy is saying, save me. But it's so important that we understand that sometimes when you get in a real jam, right, Toby? I always tell people that troubles don't make you, struggles don't make you. A lot of times they reveal you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because you're made in the stillness, you're made in your contemplation, you're made in your steady, that's what's that everyday building on that. So I think that should be, I would bet, I'm sitting here and thinking, I've been doing this 45 years. I can't even tell you how many thousands and millions of times I've asked God to save me.
Oh, I know. Well,
And
what's funny, Mark, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's funny is we ask him to save us, like that's our first response. But the reality is usually the jam we're in, we created ourselves. Right?
yeah.
And it's
90,
like
90, probably 95%.
95% of the time, and we're like, save me, which is that's exactly why the thief on the cross, that he was a thief. That's why he was on the cross. Like he created the situation. So, but both of them did. Both of
Yeah.
them did the
Yeah.
same thing. Both of
Yeah.
them created their own situation, but one had a different mindset than the other. But man, the rescue me, save me, help me, and then all the promises that come with it. Oh God, if you get me out of this, I will never do X again. If you get me out of this, I'll never do Y again. If you get me out of this, I'll be a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better employee. It's like we make promises and promises and promises. And to your point, we're missing the boat because what God is wanting to do in us is not, He don't care about the promises. He wants to change us from the inside out. Like what created the situation that put us on the cross? That's the part he wants to change. What in us is making us a thief? What in us is causing destruction in our lives? What in us trips us up in the state that it ruins our marriages, our relationships, and all these things? Those are the things, Mark, he's trying to address, but all we can focus on is the pain of the cross.
But he did say something really important, and if I would love people to be more interactive on our channel, because I would love to know how many people said, if you are God, if this is you, if you are the Son of God, save me and you. Go ahead and save yourself too. And it sounds like Mark chapter 4, Jesus was led into the wilderness, and it says he was tempted of the devil. Like, I don't know all the theology of that, but I'm just saying what it said. And his language was, if you are the Son of God, if you really are who you say you are. And that's kind of what the whole situation of being in a trial is about, is a observation of self. It's a reflection. It's making sure you're attached to the source. Because when Satan asked, or the devil, whatever you want to call him, asked Jesus, if you are the Son of God, make these stones into bread. Make it something fleshly. Make it something earthly. But what he's really saying is, I know you're the Son of God, but I need to know if you're the Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes our trials are there to reveal you and to guide you back to actually go from save me to rescue me. I do it all the time, Toby. And you know my story and stuff, and falling in this victim. I was just thinking just today, I have all the power, all the wisdom, all the grace, everything I need to be where I really want to be.
Mark, that's really good to have that awareness. But like dive a little deeper into that. So you're saying you kind of contemplated that even this morning, that you've got this experience of life that you've lived, and you've given your life to study and to learn, especially, in some of the mysteries of God and the like. So when you say you have all the tools, you have all the experience, what does that mean to you? And what's the temptation to forget that? Like, kind of talk me through that.
That's where your just that understanding of who you are, and that's a difficult for some, and that's a healing journey for others to reclaim. I hear a lot of people, Toby, say, I'm a this, I'm a son of God, I'm this, but I've been doing it a really long time. It's not that easy. It's not that easy because when the world around you is telling you who you're not all the time. And so I fully well know it's like this recyclable. I'm reprogramming my whole life, the last 12 years of what goes on around me is not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't reflect who I am. And I don't need saving, because I finally figured out no one's coming with the boat to save me. I don't need it. And that's why Jesus, we started with this conversation. Jesus didn't even talk to the guy that said, save me, didn't say one single word. And sometimes I think when we're in jams like this, we put on our King James coat and say, I beseech you, God. And
Come to the throne room of grace.
If you really are real, I need help, whatever. But honestly, if we're being honest, we literally feel like we're not being heard. But he's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he's wanting you to shift from save me from rescue me to remember me.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a powerful portion. This is a great topic. I know for a fact, 100%, everybody, even if someone in your world probably goes through what someone in your world, successful businessman. Where does this ever happen to you? Have you been here? Explain that.
Yeah, more times than I care to admit. It's like, for me, I think there, like, I believe in parts. Like there's a whole there's a whole counseling teaching on parts, but I believe in parts. So, like, meaning a part of me might be really good at this, and a part of me is horrible at this. But meaning my identity and in that way. So, like, for me in the business world, I can say that part of me understands my identity. I don't have a rescue me mindset. I have what's wrong with me mindset to fix it, but that comes natural. And so business has been super successful. But in the relationship world and in my personal life, it's just the opposite. Like that part of me, creates a horrible experience. And then I'm like, to rescue me, God, if you'll rescue me, if you'll get me out of this, the promises come and all that. And then the identity that flows out of that mindset is never positive. It's like, I'm broken. What's wrong with me? I keep screwing up. That's the type of identity that comes out of that mindset. So I think they're linked together. This is kind of pretty deep, Mark, but I think they're linked together, right? So we have this tendency, if we think of ourselves a certain way, or others put those labels on us and we believe them, so we believe our identity is a certain way, then we consequently find ourselves in situations we don't like, and then we end up asking God to save us, rescue us. We lose the humility because of the cycle we're in. And this is part of the cycle that we're describing here. It's just the end of the cycle, which is, God, I'm in a jam. All this, why was he a thief? Like, why did he have the need to steal? Why was he on a cross? Like, there's all these questions. Something was broken in both of them. But to rescue me, thief, his identity was he's still a thief. His identity is the only way out is through some miracle that, like, get me out of this. If Jesus would have said, I'm going to take you off the cross, I'm going to send the legion, all these angels down, we're going to rescue both of us, all three of us, I guarantee you one of those would have been continued to be a thief and the other one would have been transformed. That's the key. But it's so amazing and powerful. The thief that asked to be remembered, the thief that remembered, he was okay with staying on the cross. Like, it wasn't a condition.
He literally said, we deserve to be here.
He did.
I own. Like, I own. And you can't fix what you don't own. And here we go again.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure there's probably people listening to this that say, well, I don't want to die on a cross. But if that's what it took, like, it was, to him, it was irrelevant. He owned it. That was his, what do we call that? I can't think of the word at the moment, but that's just the circumstances that he was in and the price he was going to have to pay for the actions that he had taken.
Man, so that thing would be, holy moly. Mm-hmm. You're like blown. Well, you have to go through the cross. It's called the process. You have to go through the process to become who you're created to be. And there's no resurrection without a crucifixion.
Mm-mm. Well, let's just get real here. So let's talk about a relationship. So you've got, let's just use hypothetical. A husband and wife. The husband is unfaithful. Mm-hmm. Right? The wife finds out. Oh, hell breaks loose at this point, right?
Right.
The husband is put on the cross in the sense because he's going to pay for what he did. His wife is in public. His wife is going to put him on the cross. The family's going to put him on the cross. Her family, his family, it's all going to happen. And it's going to feel like he's dying. Okay, so that's where he's at. He's like paying for his choice. He's paying for his mistakes. His choice. Yep. That's all it is. He made horrible decisions. Now he's paying the consequences. That was the word I was trying to think of. Right. He's paying the consequences for his choices. The question is, what's his attitude? What's his mindset in the midst of that? Like, speak to that, because I know, Coach, man after man after man that's in situations like that.
I deserve to be here versus if you save me, I won't do it again. I'll bet you $100 million every man on the planet has said, if you get me out of this jam. What it really saying is, if you really are who you say you are,
right?
We'll just take we'll take our commitment to another level.
Yeah.
But it's so Jesus came to be human, right? I mean, he came to have the human experience. Some of the early fathers said because he would have never known suffering if he hadn't become human, because it's impossible for God to suffer. But he wanted to be one with us. And I'm reminded when you're talking about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, Father, if this cup can pass from me, please take it. So it is a normal human response to say, save me. We're not saying don't say save me. What we're saying is, you're not going to get an answer in that realm. You got to get shifted over to the other side. You got to own your stuff. That other thief said, I always think about this. There's two thieves, right? One on the left and right. I don't know which it is. And this one guy is saying, save me and yourself. If you're the Son of God, then save us. I'll serve you. No, you won't. You go right back to Steve and just try to be a little bit smarter about it. Right. But the other thief, I just get this picture of this other thief hanging on the cross and looking over at him and like, go, dude, what are you talking about? He deserved to be here. He did nothing. So he recognized, and there's something that we got to recognize in ourselves that, to your point, cheated on his wife, whatever you said at that point, let's just say the husband did this. His only way out is to realize that there's something inside of him that's not human, and he has to tap into it. Because he said, this guy didn't deserve to be here. He did nothing. And that's part of our journey to own. I love that terminology, because when they're in our coaching, it's always, I can help people who will recognize and own and not make excuses for what they've done.
Yeah. But Mark, what you're talking, what came to my mind is the thief that said, we deserve to be here, and said, remember me. Jesus didn't condemn him for being a thief. So to the men that are in that situation, yeah, there's consequences, and you're hanging on a cross, so to speak. You're suffering, but there is no condemnation, and that's what's hard for the world. I'm talking about the Christian world. It's like you've got someone that says, "Remember me," meaning they've humbled themselves, they've repented, they said they see something inside of them was wrong, and yet we still want to crucify. We still want to crucify those that we see that what the church calls sin, which I call a bad choice and a bad mistake. Yet we want to crucify them. The consequences is his crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
The suffering is his crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus didn't condemn him. But we condemn and crucify, which is sad, because the reality, I love what you said. The reality is, and this is hard for people to get their minds around because we're so sin focused. The reality is something is broken on the inside of us that God wants to heal. All the result of that not being healed is bad choices and bad circumstances. But we want to focus and call it sin, and we want to hang them on a cross. We want to condemn them. We want to tell them, you need to change, blah, blah, blah. And God is just saying, I just need you to own your stuff and let me in so I can fix what's broken in you.
Mm.
That's how I see it. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it.
And you're already tried in the court of public opinion anyway, so.
The suffering is fine. Honestly, I think the suffering is good because it creates the humility. Without the suffering, we'd never humble ourselves. So the suffering.
Humble, humility, right? Great. God gives grace to the humble.
Yeah. So
it's like a really good step to go, I own it. I need your help. Just remember me. I don't deserve anything. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
Whatever happened was my dumb choices. And it's not a choice. It's a calculated misstep after one, a trap, if you will. And there comes a lot of emotional, external. It could be financial pressure. It could be relational disasters going on. And there's a lot going on to get some person to make that kind of choice.
Agreed.
And I have a lot of grace for him, but I want to put this thought in here. Maybe we can press in next. We didn't even go through any of our notes, but when Adam was in shame, right?
Mm-hmm.
God personally clothed them with coats of skin. He made a sacrifice for them. So you don't have to make a sacrifice when you fail. He's already made it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he put him outside the garden and he said, here's what's going to happen in your life. I have cursed the ground for your sake, and it'll bring thorns and thistles, and by the sweat of your brow, you'll make a living, you'll make a life. But I'm doing that not to punish you. And he said, I didn't curse Adam, I cursed the ground for his sake. And so sometimes when you find yourself on the cross, it's an opportunity and a gift. Because God didn't want to ever let Adam forget their relationship because he knew he would come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gave him millions and millions and millions of dollars and life got easy, he would forget God.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, there's one scripture, I think in Ecclesiastes, says, God, don't make me too rich lest I forget you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make me too poor lest I curse you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the crucifixion literally was your decision, but God already knew it and made a way. He already made the sacrifice for you. All he wants you to do is say, I don't have any excuses.
Mm-hmm.
When you get older, you quit having excuses. You know, I said that. I did that. I thought that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're younger, you think you can play your chest way out.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes to the mindset of if I can fix myself, which we think about behaviors. If I can fix this behavior, then I'm going to get this result. And the problem is there's nothing wrong with changing a behavior, but the sake of just changing a behavior because you want a different outcome doesn't address the root of the problem. The root of the problem is there's something broken inside that's creating the behavior that's giving you the outcome that you don't want. And as men, and I think this is the dynamic of a relationship, especially one in crisis, is the focus is the behavior. So the wife, let's just assume that it's a man behavior problem. The wife wants the man to behave a different way. The man sees that his behavior is destructive, so he focuses on that. And so the whole focus is on how do we change a behavior so we can have a better marriage, when the truth is I need to fix something inside of me that it permanently removes this type of behavior. And at the same time, the wife needs to be doing the same thing. Because if she's full of venom, judgment, and I don't want to be too harsh here, but you get the picture. She's full of those things. She's got issues as well that could be tied to, past brokenness, abandonment, whatever, that needs addressed as well. So just the crisis itself, this is what I'm trying to say. The crisis itself is an opportunity, if it's in a relationship, for both sides to say, wow, we need to look at what's inside of us, what's broken, what needs to be repaired, what do we need to surrender to, because this is our opportunity to make that change. Like you said, it's a gift. And so many times we don't see it that way, because we're hurt. There's pain, like incredible pain involved. And so our human nature is to point a finger. Why are we here? Who's the cause? Who's to blame? And unfortunately, and you know this too, is like, if you don't deal with this stuff, the next relationship, it ends up looking just like the previous one. And you're like going, what? Why does this, then it's the victim. Why does this always happen to me? Why does it happen to me? It's because of you, because you're not addressing you. That's what happens to you.
Wow.
I mean, I've lived part of this. I know. I've lived some of this out. It's not pleasant to admit. Man, we just got to rip our hearts open and let God in and say, what's in me that shouldn't be in me? It's usually up here. How am I processing life? How am I processing circumstances? How am I processing challenges in this life the wrong way? And this is what we're talking about today. Am I looking at it from a rescue me or a remember me mindset? This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's like I just feel like I want to say to the men, especially listening, and women, I have never counseled a couple in my life, and there's exceptions, but most tragic things that happen to their life, like their introduction to sexual assault, their introduction to pornography, their introduction to violence, their introduction to everything in their life, happened in their innocence.
Yeah.
And it was stolen.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend the rest of our life. I just want to tell the people today that you can only hold the balloon underwater for so long. And you got to get tired of it and just let it go and say, remember me, help me fix me. So we go back to the cross. One guy saying, fix my situation. The other guy saying, I'm the one in need of you.
Yeah.
Because I deserve to be there.
Man, that's good.
Man, you cannot. There is no. That's the most level of vulnerability there is. There's no criticism. There's no weapon. There's no nothing. Once you get it, the cross is about exposure. The process and the struggles reveal who you are, and it's a gift to say, do you want to keep saying save me, and you want to have a relationship with me, because I'm not going to talk to you about that, or do you want to say I own it, remember me, and whatever happens, I trust you.
Yeah.
So hard.
Man, that's so good. And it's hard because it cuts across our human nature. Our human nature is to run, is to blame. It's to do what the thief that said, "Rescue me." That's our human nature. That's our first go-to thought. Just like you said, Jesus said it. If this cup can pass from me, let it pass. But he was willing to suffer for us. I mean, that's the whole point here.
I got a question for you before we go, Toby.
What's that?
If you're the save me guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make temporary changes for a lasting result, which is a disaster. What happens? I guess what I'm questioning is, what I want to say is, we all made these promises with God, right? And but we're not just making a promise, we're asking for something in return.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when that thing that we start doing right doesn't get the return?
But we're doing it for the wrong motive.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go back to the old self. That's the risk, right?
We'll keep the balloon ready.
Yeah. And here's the mystery that we don't get, Mark. And this probably be a good place to kind of wind down. The mystery that I believe we don't get, if we would just humble ourselves and own our stuff, like, we're not promised this, but in many cases, God will change our circumstance. The thing that we wanted to change actually changes, but it's on His terms, not ours. We don't control it. I think that's what's hard, is we have to relinquish control. But if you want your circumstances to change, you have to change. But what we want to do is change the circumstances with the promise that we'll change ourselves. And God's saying, no, I need you to change. This is your opportunity to look at yourself. Just like the thief that said, remember me, he had the only moment he had was right then. And he chose the moment to say, I'm going to own my stuff and I'm going to be vulnerable, not knowing what the outcome would be. And the outcome for him wasn't just death, but the outcome was, I'm going to see Jesus in paradise this day. Today.
The moment you say, I own my stuff, today the kingdom has come.
Yeah. And we got to let go of our circumstances and just own our stuff and be
now
humble.
Your friends and family and all that, it's going to take them a while to catch up to that.
Yeah. Well, it's because God's working on changing your identity and who you think you are. Because that's the only way your behavior changes, is when you believe you're somebody different. Because we act out who we believe we are.
Mm-hmm.
As a man thinketh, so is he. However we view ourselves is how we live our lives. And in parts, I can't overemphasize this, in parts, we might be a great husband and a horrible businessman. We might be a great businessman and a horrible husband. You're capable of doing this in parts. And I think that's what's so confusing for a lot of people. It's like, why can I be successful in this one area and feel like a failure in the other, or believe in myself in this one area, but this other area I have no belief in? A lot of it has to do with your past and your what you've been through as a child. To your point, all the horrific things that happen to people when they're kids or early in life creates an identity on that part of you. And in some cases, it affects the whole person. But in many cases, it's like we're able to stuff it away on one part, but it raises its head on the other. It's like your balloon. You push one side down and the other side pops up. Just pop the thing. Get rid of it.
Let it go.
Just let it go.
What a great
stuff.
topic.
Yeah, well, we're kind of up in time here, but we'll continue this. I like you said, we didn't even touch one note that we talked about, so we'll dig a little deeper in here next week. But great topic. Any closing thoughts, Mark?
Our good friend Dick always says, sometimes you just got to do it scared. Close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I was looking at some of my old notes, and what I realized is sin and shame is a individual thing, but vulnerability is a shared experience. And when vulnerability comes in community, in a shared experience, someone that hears and listens and feels and holds, without judgment. You can't even imagine what that's like. I tell our good friend Jeremiah all the time, I'm like, you jumped across this line of vulnerability that you've been scared of your whole life. And it wasn't even that hard when you got there. Like, what the heck? What was I afraid of? So I just want to encourage people. It really hurts my heart. Relationships don't work and they break apart because each individual person is not working and they're breaking apart.
Yeah.
And it's unfair to judge a marriage without. I always say this, and I want to leave with this. I could talk forever about this. If you don't know my story, but you hear things, you have an opinion about me. But if you know my story and listen intently, you have compassion toward me.
Yeah. Good.
And we're here. We're two old guys, but we have a lot of experience, and we want to spend the rest of our life helping. Say, look, man, we're here. I get it. We're here. I know what you need. So just reach out. And I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to close with this thought. I want to close with the challenge, Mark.
All right.
I just want to challenge our listeners. I want you to ask yourself this question: when I'm in a crisis, do I make promises to God? Do I ask God to rescue me? Or do I humble myself and own my stuff? And be honest with yourself. And if you would, drop the answer in our podcast, in the chat. Just drop a message and say, own my stuff, or ask God to rescue me. Just the reason I want you to write it, say it out loud or whatever, is because that's the first step. It's just saying it, admitting where you're at. And it's okay. You and I have, how many promises have you made to God? I can't count how many I've made to get me out of a jam. It's normal, but just own your stuff. Just recognize it and own it. And we do have compassion for you because we've been there, and we want the best for you. So drop us a line, reach out, like our podcast. We're here for you. We don't do this for any other reason other than we've got what do we say? We have 125 plus years of experience between the two of us. So
a whole lot of the other experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll say until next time, we do love you. We're here for you. Drop us a message if you want to talk. And we'll see you next week. God bless you.